Hello students, welcome to another video on maths for class 7. Today we will be discussing about simple interest. You might have heard the term simple interest before, but how to calculate or how to find out interest, that we'll be learning today. Before we understand how to calculate simple interest using the formula PRT by 100 or principal rate time by 100, let us understand what are these terms. Generally, when a money lender lends some money, that money is called the principal. He is lending it, or we are borrowing the money from the money lender, then that becomes our principal. And that money is being given to us so that once our work is over, we have to return it. And the extra amount that we pay that person is known as the interest. It is the additional money which we pay to the money lender for allowing us to keep the money for a certain period of time. And that money is calculated on a particular rate. That is called the rate of interest. Like we can say that a rate of interest is 5%, 6%. Generally it is a percent. And the amount, means the principal plus the interest together, will form the amount. So these are certain terms related to the simple interest. Simple interest, as the name suggests, it is just calculated by a very small simple formula, that is P into R into T, that is principal into the rate into the time by 100. Also I can represent it as SI or I equal to PRT by 100. Now using this one formula we can calculate. Now suppose we have to calculate the interest, we will do PRT by 100. Suppose we have to calculate the principal. What am I going to do using this formula? I'll shift this I into 100 here, and this R and T will form the denominator. So I into 100, that is interest into 100 by rate into time. Similarly, when I have to calculate the rate, I will do interest into 100 by P into T. And if I have to calculate the time, I will do I into 100 by P into R, or principal into rate. So using this one formula, I can just make any of the required terms as a subject and solve it. Means if interest, rate and time is given, we can calculate the principal. If interest, principal, time is given, we can calculate the rate. If interest, rate and principal is given, we can calculate the time. So remember students, the formula for simple interest is PRT by 100 or principal rate time by 100. Simple interest is the interest which we calculate on the original money, which we call the principal, at a given rate of interest for any given time. So let us solve some exercise questions to understand the concept and how to apply this formula. So moving to the first question, which says find the simple interest on rupees 2000 for 4.5 years at 8% per annum. So on rupees this much means this is a principal. Let us write all the details which are given to us. Principal is rupees 20,000. The time is 4.5 years. That is in improper fraction. It is 9 by 2 years. The rate of interest is 8.5% per annum. That is for the whole year. And again I can convert into improper fraction as 17 by 2%. And because it is percent, when we will use it, we write it by 100. Okay. And we have to calculate the SI. This is a direct question where you will put the value of P into R into T by 100 and solve the question. So rupees 20,000 into time is 9 by 2 into 17 by 2, the rate, into 100 in the denominator. And this 100 is actually written because the rate is expressed in the percentage. So already the 100 is there. So let us cut the zeros. So we are left with 100 here, 50. So 50 into 9 into 17, that is rupees 7,650. This is a simple interest. We have to calculate only the simple interest, so our question will be answered in this much. If it is asking you to calculate the amount, students remember, the amount is calculated with the formula principal plus the simple interest. So you know that the simple interest is now rupees 7650 and the principal was 20,000. So the total amount would have been 27650, that is 27,650. But this is not needed as it has not been asked in the question. I'm just explaining you how to use the formula for amount, that is principal plus SI. Now moving to the next question, where find the time when simple interest on 2500 at 4% per annum is rupees 200. So simple interest on rupees this much. So this is not the simple interest, it is the principal. Many times students do a mistake in writing this as the simple interest, but this is simple interest on this much at 4% is 200. Simple interest is rupees 200. This is percentage, so you can see and understand this is 4% per annum. So I had told you that by making T as a subject, we would have got the formulas I into 100 by P into R. So PRT is the formula, PRT by 100. Just make T the subject and you land up into this formula. So that is 200 into 100 by 2500 into 4%. Cut the zeros. So finally our answer is, because it is time, here this is 2 years. Moving to the next question, find the rate of interest when simple interest on this much 1625 is in 2.5 years is 325 rupees. So again, principal given is rupees 1625. The time given to us is 2.5 years, which I am converting and writing in improper form. And then simple interest is telling simple interest is rupees 325. So here we have to calculate the rate of interest. So here the formula will be I into 100 by P into T. See, simple formula, put the values and solve it. 325 into 100 by 1625 into, because it is in fraction, we'll write 5 and the 2 will come up, reciprocal, remember fractions, and then 5 ones are, 5 20s are, and cut it short. 325 ones are and 5s are, 5 ones and 4s are, 4 into 2 is 8, and as it is rate, it is 8%. Put in the correct unit always when you solve. Simple, direct, putting the formulas and we are able to get the answer. Let us do some more questions. Now the next question states, find the time when rupees 1250 amounts to rupees 1950 at 16% per annum. Now this amounts to this. So here the principal is given rupees 1250 and it amounts to, that is the amount is given as 1950 and the rate is given 16%, asking us to calculate the time. Now you know the simple formula that we have to put here will be I into 100 P into R, because T we have to calculate, so remaining whatever is there, I into 100 is always on the top by the other two factors. Now here we know P, we know the R, but do we know the I? No. So from where can I get this? From this too. As I told you that the amount is equal to principal plus the interest. So what will be the interest? It will be amount minus the principal. So here the amount is 1950 minus 1250. That is, interest is 700 rupees. So after calculating the interest is 700, let us put it in the formula. 700 into 100 by principal 1250 into 16. You did not put more 100 for the 16% because this 100 is for that rate itself, as I told you in the beginning. Cut off the zeros. 5 2s are, 5 25s are. So here I am getting 7 by 2, which I can reduce to 3 1 by 2. So the time is 3 1 by 2 or 3.5 years. It was all very simple. Just you have to understand when you read the question, see, this amounts to this, means the principal is given and amount is given. How can I get the interest? By subtracting the amount minus the principal. Now moving to the next question, which says that find the principal when final amount is 4500 at 20% per annum for 5 years. What are the details given? Final amount is, so it's very clear that the amount is 4500. You can see percentage, so you know it's the rate percent is 20, and the time is also given 5 years. Here we have to find the principal. So let us assume the principal as P. You can also take it X. You can also take it 102, but I am showing you with P. Let principal be rupees P. Now if the amount which is told to us is rupees 4500 with a rate percent of 20% and the time is 5 years, what do you think the interest would have been? It would have been the amount minus the principal, that is P. Now we have got interest in terms of P because amount minus P. Now you know that the formula for interest is PRT by 100. So if I put it like this now, in place of I am going to write 4500 minus P equal to, and this side P as it is, R is 20, time is 5 by 100. So both this side, the value which will come is same, so I am putting it equal, and in place of I have represented I in terms of P. Simple calculation. Now let us solve the value for P. You know we'll cross multiply, so 4500 minus P will be multiplied with 100 equal to 100 P again. So either we can also cut short the P here. Either you take it here and solve, or what you can do, it would have been like this itself. If I wouldn't have taken the 100 here, it would have been this. So that means 4500 minus P equal to P, which is equal to 4500 equal to 2P, because both the P moves to one side. Therefore, P would have been 4500 by 2. That is 2. So our final answer would have been 4500 by 2, that is rupees 2250. So just quickly I am recapping what have I done. Taken the values given, principal assumed to be P. Using P, I have calculated the interest. Interest is amount minus P. I know the amount minus P. Then I have used the simple formula of interest, that is I equal to PRT. In place of I have written this. I have written interest in the term of P, and in this side I have done the normal calculation keeping P as P. And then I have calculated by doing cross multiplication. The value of P is 2250. Moving on to the last question for the day for simple interest. This question, as I always have been teaching, I know students find it very unusual because here only one thing you can see as numbers, that is 6 years. And they say that means nothing else is given. So how can you calculate? Let us read the question. An amount of money invested trebled in 6 years. Trebled means it becomes 3 times. Find the rate of interest earned. So let us assume here that the principal is 100. If we say that the amount has trebled, then the amount is 3 times of P, so that is rupees 100 into 3, that is rupees 300. So as the word trebled is written, sometime it may be doubled or 4 times. So just read and understand. So amount will become 300. So here what will be the interest? Interest is amount minus principal, that is rupees 300 minus 100, that is rupees 200. Now one thing is given to us, that is time, which is 6 years. We have to calculate the rate of interest. So what is the formula, children? Interest into 100 by P into P. So here the interest we are assuming it to be 200 and the principal to be 100 and the time is 6. 200 into 100 by 100 into 6. So let us reduce. So 100 by 3, that is 33, 1 by 3%. So here we calculate the rate as 33, 1 by 3%. So it is not at all difficult. What did I assume? Principal to be 100. Amount, as it is trebled, it became 3 into 100, 300. calculated the interest based on this. I got 200, time was given, and then I put the formula and calculated the answer. So I'm very sure students, with this you would have been able to understand the concept of simple interest. And again, I would like to repeat, this is a part of the percentage and application chapter. So you saw everywhere we had percentage. The rate is as a percentage. So that is why this chapter is a part of percentage chapter, because you can see in a day-to-day life, when we invest money and we put up money in the banks or lend it out to someone, we calculate the interest. And again, percentage is playing a very important role there. So I'm very sure you would have understood all the questions, and you will be able to solve whatever is there in your books. Thank you for watching.